November 22, 1963, Dallas, Texas. 3 shots, 12 seconds, and the most powerful man on earth is dead. The official story tells us one man did it, a lone gunman, acting on reasons that still don't fully add up. But here is what they don't teach you in school. In the months leading up to that fateful day, John F. Kennedy wasn't just a president. He was an insider who turned against the very machinery that put him in power. He challenged the spies. He challenged the generals. He challenged the trillions of dollars moving behind the scenes. And within 3 years, he was in the ground. Let's start with the CIA. April 1961, the Bay of Pigs. A classified invasion of Cuba meant to topple Fidel Castro using exiled fighters. It was a total, unmitigated disaster. Kennedy refused to send in U.S. air support to bail it out, and the operation collapsed in under 3 days. The intelligence community blamed Kennedy for losing his nerve. Kennedy blamed the CIA for a reckless plan built on fabricated intelligence. The fallout was immediate. He did the unthinkable. He fired CIA Director Allen Dulles, one of the most powerful, unelected men in American history, along with 2 of his top deputies. Multiple sources close to the president reported he was furious. He reportedly stated he wanted to shatter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it to the winds. Now, let's be entirely honest here. That exact quote comes from a single journalist's account years later, not an official recording. We cannot prove he said those precise words, but what we can prove through official documents is this. He stripped the agency of its absolute autonomy and began pushing to bring it under direct White House control. In a world built on absolute secrecy, that wasn't just a policy change. That was a declaration of war on their independence. Here is where the story gets darker. In March 1962, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the top commanders of the U.S. military, presented a classified proposal to the Secretary of Defense. It was called Operation Northwoods. The plan proposed staging fake terrorist attacks on American soil and American targets, and framing Cuba for it. It suggested hijacking commercial planes, bombing U.S. cities, even fabricating the casualties of American citizens, all of it carefully designed to manufacture public outrage and start a war. This is not a rumor. This is a declassified document, sitting in the National Archives right now for anyone to read, and Kennedy rejected it, flatly. Think about the psychological weight of that moment. The individuals running the military apparatus were willing to sacrifice their own citizens for geopolitical leverage. And the one man standing in their way was the president. Then came Vietnam. In October 1963, just 1 month before Dallas, Kennedy signed National Security Action Memorandum 263. It officially called for the withdrawal of 1,000 U.S. military advisors from Vietnam by the end of the year. Historians still debate his ultimate long-term strategy, but the immediate direction was undeniable: less war, not more. And less war meant less money, fewer contracts for massive defense companies, smaller budgets for the generals. But history has a strange way of reversing itself. In the years after Kennedy died, U.S. involvement in Vietnam didn't shrink. It exploded into a decade-long conflict that consumed hundreds of billions of dollars. The money kept flowing. Now, this next part is the most famous claim about Kennedy's death, and also the most exaggerated. So let's separate the viral internet myths from the documented truth. In June 1963, Kennedy signed Executive Order 11,110. If you search the internet today, you will find thousands of accounts claiming this was Kennedy declaring war on the banking cartel, printing debt-free government money to destroy the Federal Reserve's monopoly. The real history, it is mostly a myth. The order didn't create a new currency system. It simply transferred a narrow technical authority, already utilized by earlier presidents, including Eisenhower, to issue silver certificates backed by existing silver in the Treasury. It didn't strip the Federal Reserve of its core power, and economists agree it posed zero threat to the banking system. We are telling you this because our job on this channel isn't to give you the version that sounds the most explosive. It's to give you the version that is actually true, even when the factual answer is the less dramatic one. So no, Kennedy did not threaten the central banks. But everything else, the CIA riffed. Rejecting Operation Northwoods, initiating the Vietnam pullback. Those are real documented facts, and they made him some of the most dangerous enemies a man could have. The official conclusion remains the 1964 Warren Commission, Lee Harvey Oswald, acting entirely alone. A secondary congressional investigation in 1979 suggested a high probability of a conspiracy, based on acoustic evidence, though that evidence was later heavily challenged by scientific experts. To this day, no official U.S. document has ever proven a smoking gun conspiracy involving government agencies, but the pattern remains undeniable. In the final year of his life, John F. Kennedy isolated himself from the three most powerful forces in Washington: the intelligence community, the military establishment, and the defense contractors who stood to lose billions. Maybe it really was just one man, with one rifle, acting completely alone. Or maybe the reason this case has never truly closed is because too many powerful people had every reason to want him gone. History changes. Human patterns remain. This has been the truth behind the story. If this episode opened your eyes, subscribe, because we are just getting started.